There is this chapter in the Bible that has always perplexed me for many years. Remember, maybe the first time I read it was like over 20 years ago. And it still perplexed me. And turns out it's a huge, can I call it a topic in the guide for the perplexed. Maimonides takes time to try to explain what it is. I must say that I'm still perplexed, but at least he gives me some context to it, and then he kind of explains my perplexityness. I don't know whether that's the right word to use in that context. And that chapter is the chapter one of the book of Ezekiel. And he calls it that chapter describes what is called the divine chariot, Maseh Merkabah. And in fact, I've watched a documentary, an entire documentary made to explain that chapter, and some people have used it as evidence that aliens have been visiting Earth over time. And they say what Ezekiel witnessed and he was describing, that's the documentary I'm talking about here, is that was aliens who came visiting, and he happened to be where they landed, and they took him in and they showed him all these things. And these, you can call it a mothership. That's what he was describing. And this was something very new to him. And it was something that he had never seen before. So the people who made the documentary were basically saying that if that appeared today, maybe we will be better placed to understand it more than he was. Okay, that's the documentary. But on his side, Maimonides takes a moment to explain it, but he also tells us this, that the divine chariot, or as he called it, the Maseh Merkabah, is a very, let me find these exact words. I'm going to read some of the things he writes about that. He says that it's a subject that belongs to what he called the mysteries of the law. And he says that to explain what it really means is against the Jewish law, or it wasn't something that was encouraged, that people were not, people who understood it were expected that they were not going to tell others what it really meant. And he says that you could only be given some information, and if you were enlightened enough, or you were in a state that you were supposed to be, then you could discover it by yourself. Then you could discover the meaning behind it by yourself. He says, our sages blame those who reveal these mysteries and praise the merit of those who keep them secret, although they are perfectly clear to the philosopher. So there are people who, here is how he puts it. You are given information. He says, it has been shown that a person favored by Providence with reason to understand these mysteries is forbidden by the law to teach except viva voce, which means through the word of mouth, not written, and on condition that the people possess certain qualification, and even then only the heads of the sections might be communicated. So even when somebody knows it and they can teach you, they don't give you the entire thing. They just kind of guide you, and they don't write it down. They are supposed to just give you facilitation so that you are able to discover by yourself. And he says the divine chariot includes matter too deep and too profound for the ordinary intellect. So the way he explains is that this vision that Ezekiel saw is very important, number one, but there are people who know what it means, but they are then not supposed to explain to others, but just guide them to discover by themselves what it meant. So I don't want to read that chapter. You can just find a Bible, or just Google the verse and then read it for yourself. Just the chapter one, or the entire chapter one of the book of Ezekiel, and it talks about the chariot and some, we can call them some maybe animals, human-like and things like that. They saw weird kind of vision. And now, after reading the descriptions that Maimonides gives, as I've said, he says he can't tell us what exactly it is, but he just facilitate. I did get that facilitation, but I'm still perplexed. I don't know what it means really. So it's something that maybe if you read it for yourself, you read the chapter in Ezekiel, and you go on and you read Maimonides by yourself, maybe you are the kind of a person who is favored by Providence, as he puts it, and then you'll be able to understand what it means. Yeah, so that's my take on the divine chariot.